Corrie, you look a little sweaty.
I am coming off of 2 hot days. If anyone doesn't know, my AC went out. It went out on Sunday in the middle of a set.
Why can't the AC go out? Which we're running it from 80-degree days to 108-degree days. Why can't it go out at the 80-degree day?
I said, why aren't we having like a little cold front roll in or a little rain?
Yeah. No, he was like, the hottest day, I'm out.
It was the hottest day. But what was great was so on Sunday, in my little cookie room, I have the portable AC unit that you suggested. So I didn't know it went out. Because in the cookie room, it was cold. My husband came upstairs and he's like, do you realize it's 85 degrees upstairs? And I said, no. But that was Sunday night. So Monday morning called. The guy came Monday night.
You could have come and gotten that portable AC unit I have.
I bought another one.
You insane person.
It's coming on tomorrow.
You don't need it anymore.
I know, but it's how much to get you.
If that AC guy called, which you said they do they do day of service.
Yeah.
If that's not a lesson in supply and demand, rush fees and pricing accordingly. We have the baker who says, I need you to schedule 2 weeks out. And you have the baker who says, I'll take your last minute order. That last minute order baker should be charging a higher rate because they accommodate last minute things.
I want to tell you, as a person that was roasting in the 95-degree house, I was willing.
We were rare, medium rare, well done. Like, where were we on the temperature scale?
Do you know, like, when someone looks at you and you get annoyed? That's where I was. Well done. Well done with everybody in the house. I was willing to pay whatever to be on the man's top of the list. I even called dispatch. I said, hey, I just want to make sure that my name is on the roster.
When you have to call and check, like, hey, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Just hello. Just
she
a
was
quick
like,
question.
you are on the list. I said, Tina, tell me straight. Am I being annoying and rushing? And she's like, yeah, just need to wait a few more minutes. Thank you, Tina. I just need to hear your voice.
You get hot enough and candor goes out the window.
Listen. But the AC turned on last night. But we did sleep in the basement. Brought the mattress down, but the dog was just jumping up, jumping down.
Was he excited or was he?
The thing is, the dog wants to be by me constantly.
He probably says, I saw your tattoo and I want to be next to it. It's me.
But when you have a queen-size bed, why I didn't get a king, I don't know. And your husband takes up half the bed. And you take up a little corner of the bed. Where's the dog to go? So he kept pushing me. I almost fell out of the bed 52 times.
Where did the cat go?
He was downstairs, but he wasn't like on top of it.
I feel like the cat's like, I don't really like you guys. I'm a renter here. I don't pay anything, but I don't like it.
I even think the cat was hot because she never sleeps in the basement, but she was down
You
there.
get hot
We were
enough,
hot. We were all
shelter.
hot.
This is the Sugar Cookie Marketing Podcast. It's an extension of a group on Facebook. I think there's about 46,000 people shopping Prime today. Today and tomorrow, the 16th and the 17th are Amazon Prime Day. So we have threads pinned where you can post up the goodies that you found. And then what people didn't read is that later today, there'll be I'm looking for, can you help me find this?
If you wanted to know, people don't know if they're getting a deal, not getting a deal. The thing is, if you buy something all year round, you know if you're getting a deal or not. If you're wondering what the price is for the past few months to see if maybe that shop raised prices.
Which I think a lot of them do.
A lot of them do, but what is the website?
The website's camel.com. I think, don't ask me why it's that.
I don't either.
I think that it's easier.
I think up the humps, up, down, up, down.
I
think you're right.
There's some other websites that do price comparison. I think that Honey extension, the Chrome extension will tell you if this is the highest price or the lowest price to know whether that shops raise their price and then gave you the deal and it's just back to the normal price or if you're truly getting something. That said, the things that I bought recently, I looked back up and they're all on sale for more than I paid.
The vanilla extract that I've bought for years upon years upon years, typically $101.
It's ridiculous.
Today, $80. It is on sale. Anyhow.
Moving on to today's podcast. I'm going to silently think, did I overpay or are they just charging so much profit that they can dig into it like that?
You can't think of it that way.
You can't think of it that way. You can't do that
You got
to
whatever
yourself.
you wanted in 2 days.
But I wanted it cheaper. Today's podcast is actually a request by Heather King. She's a Vendy Blendy, One Smart Cookies and Crafts. And she was like, I'd really love for you guys to go through your class supplies, your cookie class supply list, and tell us what you bring and why you bring it.
Okay. That's a topic.
And I would like to let everybody know the reason why we bring this stuff is because at one point we didn't, and then we decided we needed. So we try to bring the least amount possible, but that which we need. And I think we've been teaching these classes for so many years that it's
kind of down to a science, except
is.
for you recently forgot the icing one day.
I wanted to see if we still got it. We're still sharp. We weren't.
We were not. But we did drive fast.
So in the cookie class kits. I actually put our supplies list, these supplies, and a checklist so you don't do what we did and forget it.
Yeah.
I had somebody in the cookie college say over the weekend that they're like, yeah, I was even thinking of you guys about leaving the icing, and I look around and I left my icing. It happens to us all. It'll get you one way or another.
If you're wondering, the cookie class kits is everything you need to teach a class. So you'll find this checklist within that membership if you want to sign up. The reason why we want to cover this now is because cookie class teaching season is coming up.
Barreling down.
It is barreling down. So we are dropping the first week of August is a cat class. It's so cute.
Yeah, and then for the remainder of the year, we'll go back to those major holidays, which is Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
Yeah.
So we already have those classes in those memberships. This will be, if you sign up for the cookie class kits, it's $63. You'll get these classes for the first time. However, if you're in the cookie college, you get last year's Halloween, Thanksgiving.
So it gives you some wiggle room. You can offer two different classes.
If you want to offer those 2 different classes, you'll need to sign up for that cookie college level. And if you just say, I like whatever you're coming up with, that will be. But also, we just dropped a Christmas in July class.
Well, we just dropped the plant class.
Right,
yes.
the plant class. It's been a lot. One class drops each month. So the plant class, Sugary Shrubs, just dropped. It's very cute.
Very cute.
And Corrie had a goal of getting me that cat class early, and she did.
I did.
Almost too early. I felt uncomfortable.
Very too early.
I didn't
Speaking
like that.
I was like, saw you got the class done. Just so you know, I'm not dropping the cutters early. I said, please
Good.
don't.
None of us are dropping
Please
anything early. However, Corrie did. So we're going to go through our class checklist. Now, this is just what we found really works for us. We've been doing this for a lot of years now, and I think we've streamlined it to optimize.
The key is to streamline what you bring to class. If you're being paid, if your class cost is being paid by how long the prep time is, how much you're bringing, the more you bring that you don't need, the more you have to shove back into your car, take home, unload.
Well, it's an efficiency thing.
And it's cutting into your profits.
Yes.
So you don't want to overpack, but you definitely don't want to underpack your icing.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I also include this in the Cookie Class Kits subscription, a spreadsheet that we live and die by, and it has formulas that auto-populate because Corrie and I have learned, like, let's not guess. We need it written down, and then we cross-check it. So we'll put in all the people attending, and we offer people they can get the class kit, or they can get the DIY kit, or they can get both or one of each. So and then I just type this into the spreadsheet. It tells us exactly how much we need of each thing.
It's very handy, especially like when you're in the thick of it baking, just to reference this. Heather prints it off for me. It makes it even easier. I just put it on my fridge so I can look over, see how many I need.
So it'll tell her how many of each cookie, how many of each color of icing. And then our class kits, for you guys to understand what we're about to go through, is 6 cookies and 4 icings every time. It never deviates from that. So let's go through in order, like our class prep, what we do for that. And then we'll go for our class supplies, what we pack before we get there, and then what we kind of display out.
All right.
So you're kind of the prep person. What I'll do is we list these on Eventbrite. There is an Eventbrite, takes commission of things, and you can either pass that on to the consumer or absorb it. We raise our prices and absorb it. And then I'll get this list. It spits out a spreadsheet, and then I'll just input it into that spreadsheet that I made.
Yeah.
And I'll send it over to Corrie. So what could talk to me about dough, icing, how you're handling that?
So because we know when a class is being filled up, the thing that we learned a long time ago is to post the classes as you're going to have them at the beginning of the year. Just makes it easier to, one, fill up the classes. People will sign up for Christmas in January. That's crazy, but you can get your classes filled so you're not always feeling like you have to rush and market that month of. So I know, even if I don't know what the sets are going to be, I know that I can plan ahead as far as when the days are.
That's an interesting question people bring. How can you post a class when you don't know what the class looks like? At the beginning, I initially had that question as well. We tested it. In all these classes, we said, here's our schedule. The theme is coming soon. We'll update the class when we have it, but people were still signing up for it.
Yeah.
So now you may have the secondary question. What if I need to cancel class? What if life happens and I need to cancel or nobody signs up? We're constantly moving those classes around ourselves. We might even lose our current venue. So I've paused signups for those classes. We'll see if the venue is going to stick around there, and then we'll turn the back on. And if not, I already had a couple people sign up. I'll just refund them or offer them to roll into a new class location.
Yes.
So not the end of the world. I think this happens,
Having a venue that you can go to repeatedly, you can know how many people fit into that room.
There's a give and take. Being repeated, you have a consistent plan, but if you move your class around, you may have new audience that you can reach out to. So Corrie and I are pretty like, hey, let's just keep the mix the same. So we try to go to the same venue every time. That way we know. But either way, we kind of just plan around 10 people.
Yeah. So what I did to prep for class, the biggest thing being dough. the great thing about sugar cookie dough is it freezes amazingly and freezes for quite a long time.
Does it stand at fridge on Prime Day?
Oh, I don't know. I actually got it from Walmart. Okay. So what I did was I did get a stand-up fridge. Well, not a fridge, a freezer. So what I'll do each month is pre-bake all of my dough that I'll use for the month. That's why I got the Bosch Universal mixer. So I'll batch make one day. It's a very long, not productive day because there's no photo to show, like a cute stage photo. But the dough is prepared.
My dough fridge.
the freezer is packed full, so I'm not making the dough the day before class starts. That's a lot to do. So what I'll do is I'll actually pre-make the dough at the beginning of the month. If I have a class that month, maybe I'll make an extra batch, but it's pre-planning that way. So each month I'll do that at the beginning of the month. Dough lasts for 5 to 6 months in the freezer, so if anything carries over, I can use it for customs or the next class.
Okay, nice. So you'll batch make the dough for a lot of classes. You're not just doing it for 10 people in a class that we have coming up.
No, I'm pulling from the same customs are coming from that, but on months that we have cookie classes, that dough goes by.
I think
faster.
our last class you went through all your dough.
I did. Yeah,
it was at the credit card order.
It was.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Eventually you'll go through all the dough.
So I like that. So Corrie's not really pressed come class because she just pulls the dough out of the freezer and just thaws it out. Then she'll, the way our cookie class kits are set up, it's through Sweet Pink Olive. She gets the cutters. And Sweet Pink Olive prints them, or you can purchase the STLs. And then you'll just kind of stamp them out. And then again, that spreadsheet's telling her how many kits we have and how many class seats we have. So the kits are packaged in cellophane sealed. And then the class stuff we just put in these Target bins.
Another really nice thing is baked cookies freeze well as well. So if I don't want to, the thing you don't want to do is do everything the day before. Yeah. You'll be so tired, and then come class, you won't have the energy to keep it up for everybody in the class. They'll see you're tired.
Yes.
So the thing is, maybe the week of, bake your cookies that Monday before your class on Saturday, and you'll have the whole week. They freeze perfectly fine, and to thaw them, you just put them out overnight on a counter, and then by the morning, they're perfectly fine.
Really encourage this. If you wait until the day before to do the baking and the icing and the supplies packing, you're going to forget something. So spacing this out for yourself. So Corrie and I will cut off signups, even if there are class seats available 7 days out. And at this, 7 days out, I send out an email that tells people what to expect. We pass the cancellation period. The problem with pre-baking things is somebody does cancel. You have a little bit of that. Well, I've already rendered services. So setting up your policies. And again, in the class kits, I tell you what our policies are. It's not a secret. We say after 7 days, if the class is 7 days out and you need to cancel, you get a credit. You get a roll into the next class. Eventbrite changed their crediting system recently, annoyingly. And then as we move closer to class, so we still, if Corrie pre-baked those kits, then we still have this overage of class cookies. So we can try to sell that seat, or we can sell them as DIY kits, which a great idea I see people do. If they have somebody cancel, they'll turn that into a DIY kit to sell at the class. Because you'll see a lot of people won't order those add-on DIY kits, but when they get there, wish they did.
They'll be like, oh my goodness, I wish I did.
Do you have any extra, we always have somebody saying, do you have any extra of those?
If someone does not show up for class, I'll decorate with the people.
Yeah, so Corrie always has one. And you'll see people in those cookie class kits. We give you a PowerPoint. Julie from Sunshine Day Biz, she's actually in Vendy Blendy as well. She does a playlist, so she'll take the pictures from that PowerPoint and turn them into a PDF. A lot of people, we sometimes will just have that PowerPoint in the background, but I will say your class is going to like you decorating with them more. However, Corrie and I have 2 people, so I play MC. And Corrie will decorate, and the energy of the class doesn't stop when she's looking down at the thing. I'm able to narrate,
if you can't do 2 things at once, like talk and decorate, it'll be a very silent person.
You'll have like high energy, low energy, high energy, low energy. So Corrie won't talk, but I'll be like, hey guys, can I get your eyes up here? She's going to show you how to go through this. If you feel comfortable getting started on your own, go right ahead and decorate along with her. If not, I'm just going to talk you guys through this. Okay, I'm saying a lot of worthless words, but it does help and people do like it. So we always have, and in that spreadsheet, I have optional a kit for the teacher. Yeah. So, okay. So now we have everything. So now let's say it's the 2 days before class. 2 days before class, I send out another reminder email. It's a lot shorter than the first one, a recap of time, date, cancellation policy. So it says, and it's not like a book. I want to keep this one short, but I just want to make sure they say, if you can't make it, if you're running late, still try to come. Yeah. Because we can't accommodate a refund after class. Yeah. So just try to make it.
The reason why you want to do that preemptively is you don't want someone to maybe miss the day, not show up to class, and then be like, I want my money back.
Which typically happens. What I find is that some people just don't show up to class. But if I send that email, which I've always sent that email, they'll never reach out and ask for that because they knew that they couldn't make it. And that's some people. I mean, in your life, have you paid for someone that decided not to go? And I'm just like, well, that sucks. But I can't get out of this. If we do have, every once in a while, I'll make a little, and this is going to bite me in the butt, I'm sure, but I'll say, somebody's like, oh, something came up. Can I get a refund or can I get a credit? No, you can't. But if you want to come and pick up that DIY kit on my porch, we'll do a contactless porch pickup and you can grab it tomorrow. That's a little consolation.
Yeah, but it is nice to do it preemptively versus post because post you've already taught the class.
Post you have a battle.
Yeah. And you're really fighting and it's kind of sours the relationship you have with that person because you've done all the work. It was their negligence that forgot to come to class.
Twisting and
now they're putting
you're
it back
not
on
being
you.
Right. So making sure that those expectations are set. I have those disclaimers or those policies in the Eventbrite listing. I have them in that first email. I have kind of a touch on the second email. So it's definitely been communicated. And it's important. I see a lot of most of the customer issues come because something wasn't preemptively communicated. And at the end of the day, you have to send someone a 30-page document so they get their cookies.
I know.
No, there's that sweet spot of too much, too little.
Some people will put it in their terms of service that no one's reading. But here's the thing. If you know something is going to be a point of contention, take that out of your terms of service and put it as the headline in the email.
And that's why I put some of those things in that first email and I draw even a few into that second. Okay, so now we're the day before class. Corrie actually keeps some supplies at her house and I'll keep some supplies at mine. That way, one car isn't completely loaded down and one person's forced against their will to load it. So what Corrie will always bring, and to go through what you bring specifically. Now, this class stuff that we have, it's kind of generic. Ours is kind of outfitted towards the space that we use. So the space that we use does not have 10 chairs. It has around 8 chairs. So it leaves 2 people standing. Could we bring stools? Yeah. Do I want to? No. So what I tell people is most of you guys will end up standing anyways because of just how you want to get. But if there's chairs, feel free to grab them and use them as you see fit. So now you're packing your car. I know you're bringing a TV.
So I have this 32-inch TV.
It's very small. It is very old.
I even thought about it last night. I think it's 18 years old.
Oh my goodness. It's older than your son. It's his TV, isn't it?
No, I got him a new one. This is just a cookie glass TV.
So we bring the TV. That means, okay, we got a TV. It would have been, the venue actually has a wall-mounted TV. It doesn't swivel far enough.
Yeah.
So we do bring this TV. I hate it. It has an HDMI to HDMI cable, and then it has its own power cable. So you'll need both, and then as such, you'll need a laptop as well.
Yeah, so I do bring my laptop.
I prefer the laptop. I know you could, with a smart TV, you could possibly load it or use the internet, but
Here's the thing. You do not want to depend on someone else's Wi-Fi the day of.
You cannot. And that venue is a great example of it because it has some like, you're a visitor and you need to get 5 people's blood types to sign in. So this one will have the PowerPoint and I'll send it to Corrie the day before class
and I will download it before we get to class.
What you don't want to do, even if you have a hotspot on your phone, just have it, just preemptively do this, that hotspot that's stressed, do you get signal? You don't want that to be the thing. Of course, worst case scenario, just decorate with them. So at the end of the day, nobody passes away from a mistake here.
They don't.
So Corrie will bring her computer and then I'll set it up so I can figure it. We used to bring a Google Home to play music, but that TV piped into Corrie's computer. It lets us pull up her Spotify account, which is paid, and we'll pipe it through the TV.
Yeah. So one less thing to bring and one less thing to go wrong, the Google Home.
The Google Home needs Wi-Fi, and that was always a stress point. So you could bring what do they call them, boom boxes now?
A boom
What
box?
do you call it when it's just a speaker? A speaker?
A speaker.
Bring a speaker, a boom box. And then you could set that up, but it works really well through that TV. So again, the TV is super cheap. I almost think that you couldn't even buy it anymore. It's so old.
Yeah, no, it's so old.
And so we'll just set that up there. Now, you also bring that big case.
I bring this, it is from Hobby Lobby, it's a baker's case, but in this case, I never take the stuff out of it from class to class. It's got our little show and tell items that we go through for class, and they're always in there. So I never use them. I never take them out. There's always one little gel food coloring. I've never used it. It just lives in there.
These like props, essentially. If you have ever signed up for a Cookie Class Kits membership, the first 30 minutes of the class matches the PowerPoint that just walks them through kind of the 101 of sugar cookie baking. You'll find when people come to class, some are just there to have a good time. Some are there to see if this is an interest to them. And some of them are here to work through problems. They've already tried this. It's not working out.
The first 30 minutes, so you're like, well, I don't really talk. I think we should just be decorating. It adds value to the class. The tickets are expensive. So what you want to do is add value. So what we kind of talk through is if you want to do this at Christmas, use toothpicks. If you want to do this all the time, use scribes. So we give them either or.
Rich and poor approach, because, and I always tell people, if you're going to just do this with your kids, toothpicks, if you're going to just do this with your kids, Ziploc bags, and then we'll say, does anybody know, what are those little tips?
A coupler?
Yeah. Does anybody have couplers? And you'll see the grandmas in the class will all raise their hand. And we're like, we're not using this for this class. And here's the reason why. Going to pass this around. Something we also do in class, I know people dislike this, it's not required, but we go around and just ask people, name, where'd you come from? Because, we live in an area where people would come from pretty far and it's interesting. And then what are you trying to get out of this class? And it's that third question that I really want answered, because it tells me who's here to be like, I'm working through a problem, and who's here to just have a good time.
Yeah. Heather words it as this. She said, what's your experience with cookies? And what that experience tells us is I'm just trying to have fun. They don't need me to come around and be like, do you want me to show you how to fix that? But the people who are like, I'm trying to learn, royal icing is a pain, I'm trying to master it, then I can give them just a little bit more time and attention so they feel a certain value that maybe people are just there to have fun with their friends don't need.
Yeah, so I really like that Corrie brings this. I know we're talking about the physical supplies for this podcast. Like Corrie brings that thing. She brings, can we remember? You bring a scribe and a toothpick. You bring a Ziploc bag and a piping bag. You bring a coupler.
I bring a metal cookie cutter and then 3D printed.
And she brings an advanced 3D printed cookie cutter because we want to say, hey, like, here's metal, here's what you're used to, here's what technology has allowed us to create. Talk a little bit about 3D printing as well there. We also bring
a gel food coloring bottle.
You bring meringue powder.
Meringue powder.
Yeah,
okay.
So that'll eat up that. And then we bring in the scribe because that's a later slide where we actually talk about the use of scribe. So again, we got about, I think built in each of these classes is 10 slides that have nothing to do with the set. And it's just about, like, here's the dough, here's the icing, here's how to fix our issues. Like, here's how we're going to
Here's how to hold your scribe.
Here's the cookies in front of you. They look like blobs. Here's what they're going to look like. And then we'll dive into class. So that's why we bring that. And Corrie will just keep that kit ready to go. It's not something she's accessing, so when we get to class, there's never a wild card of did she
it's
forget
never
to put
forgotten.
This?
There's always a coupler I'll never use. He will be living in the box.
Right. Now, sometimes Corrie keeps in that extras that are just generic. So like eyeball sprinkles she'll bring, and then what else do you keep?
I'll bring like
rubber
transfers
bands
to show them. I'll bring an extra bag of bags, piping bags, in case someone explodes.
Yeah, so I like that as the emergency break in case of emergency. Also, here's our, I guess you would say, like props to show like the comparison of things. And then I like really showing people the more expensive option. And I said, as with any hobby, this can eat up your entire budget or can just be a cheap little fun thing you do. So that's what we have. We have our DIY kits pre-made before we get to class because Corrie wants to heat seal them so they're ready to go. So Corrie will bring those and you get your boxes from Amazon. They're white, plain boxes. Now, I do like this. Corrie will go to Hobby Lobby and shop the sales section to get stickers.
Yeah.
Put them on a box. It seems weird, but it actually makes them really cute and somebody always comments on them. So that will be the day of. Now, what else are you putting in your car? We have the TV. We have that emergency kit.
From Michael's, they had a cute little chalkboard sign thing. It's kind of like a triangle, so it stands up on its own. Because of the way where our class is set up, it's hard to see the front of the building to see the name of the building they need to go to. So what I've written on this in that permanent, not permanent marker, but permanent chalk marker where it takes water to erase it. Yeah. It says this way to cookie class.
It really does help people because again, it's not our building, so it's not like we can stick stuff to the wall permanently. So that little chalkboard sign, but in that email I send them before class and the one I send them 7 days out prior to class, I'll attach a screenshot of the Google Maps. Again, to really say, here is where it is. And then I'll put a hyperlink to that building in that address line. So,
what I see most people having issues with, if you have a hard to locate place, people will be like, I couldn't find it. You don't know if they gave 30 minutes to find it, if they couldn't find it in 10 minutes. So what we want to do is kind of take that anxiousness and the fear away of not being able to find the building.
Something I like. Now, be careful when you attach things to emails. They could get filtered out. So I always think about that. But something I like is when people take a picture of the venue itself and be like, this is the building you're looking for. Now, Our venue is very complicated looking because it's a bunch of the exact same building repeated in a parking lot. So it is kind of confusing. That's why we go, and she'll bring that chalkboard sign, which I think it helps.
I bring it every time. I hope
Yeah,
it helps.
we bring it. So, okay, we have a TV, chalkboard sign. You have your computer and your break in case of emergency kit.
What we bring and put in, so as you enter the building, there's either steps up to a place that we don't teach at, and then there's a door. So I have this little magnetic sign. There's not enough signs you can have to alleviate people's anxiety.
Yeah.
So you'll look, and it will say sugar cookie class. We're actually in the back of the building. So this sign at the front of the building shows them like you are in the right place. So they'll open the door, and they're always like walking cautiously.
Yeah, we're only at like 30 feet back from the door. It's not like they're in an Amazon warehouse trying to meander, but it's just enough that when you're presented with a staircase or a right turn, which one do I pick?
Yeah.
I won't close that front door, even though there is some foot traffic noise until all seats are filled. Yeah.
I'll go in while Heather's chatting with them and close the door.
So again, I know if you have an assistant, you're spending money on them. It does really help manage this room. So at no point in our class is there a dead zone.
Yeah.
Dead air. Okay, so now let's go back into your trunk.
Oh, I was saying with the sign, the magnetic sign, what Heather also brings is everyone has different hygiene, So people want to decorate. Sometimes people want to decorate with gloves on. And I try to decorate with gloves on because I'm going to each and every different person.
Corey's touching a lot of their cookies.
I'm touching a lot of their cookies, and I don't know if they're comfortable with that. So we bring gloves that they can put on if they want to, or they don't have to. But I'll wear gloves going through class.
Corey burns her gloves during class because I see you take them off, and then she's like, "Can you give me another?" Yeah, okay, our glove supply is at an all-time low. But that does give people an option. So we did start teaching these classes at COVID, which is wild to say it's 4.5 years ago. But, and it was just hard to get off the ground. We used to have to require a mask, and Corey and I would wear these.
We take people's temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look good. Sorry, I got some bad news for you. But so we actually still leave that stuff out, and it's masks optional. It's these gloves. Purell, I just like having it there. Anyways, I still use it myself. And then I think we stopped bringing the thermometer. So, and I put that in the email that you are not required to wear a mask, but if you would like to. Now, in this past year, I've removed all the COVID explicit stuff. And it just goes back to a sick policy. So if you don't feel good, here's what to know.
I even think you put a thing of Clorox wipes out there just in case you want to wipe down your seat. I never want to assume anyone's like me.
Yeah.
So if you assume everything's dirty, I want to be there for you. And if you're like, nah, I trust you, everything's clean, then I want to be there for you too.
That's a great one. And then also, in addition, we bring a ton of paper towels. It helps us keep their space clean. And you're just going to find that there's never too many paper towels you bring. I like the half sheet. Now, we don't have a ton of space in this room. Yeah. Everyone's pretty elbow to elbow. So we bring the half sheet of paper towels and just burn through those guys.
We really do burn through them.
And I'll use that to clean up. So, okay, now we're back into your car trunk.
Let me think. There's always the cookies. I bring the cookies. Heather brings the icing.
Yeah. So Corey has them in a sealed Tupperware container. I have mine in an open. We do the icing. Again.
Yeah.
We do the icing the day before class because Corey's so worried about separation. So that's never frozen. However, it is in the fridge.
I do bring the sprinkles. The sprinkles are my job because I have most of the sprinkles in my house.
But we do pre-divine the sprinkles before. We put them in a Tupperware again because I like having everything. I like to be able to count and recount ahead of time. What I don't want is for us to start doing that at class. What's going to happen is people come early.
Yeah.
And if there is an issue, you don't want to have to lose time solving one problem to leave just another problem for you. So we do. Corey will bring those sprinkles the day we do the icing together, and then I'll count them out according to that spreadsheet again because we live and die by that spreadsheet. And then I'll do a final count again, and then sometimes I'll just throw in an extra just for my own.
Just in case.
Because Corey's like so particular about the eyeball sprinkles. She's like, they're very expensive. Only give them 2
Here's the
per
thing.
eye.
If you give them so many, they're frivolous with the ones that they have.
So now they're like shaking with their one eyeball. If you lose the eyeball, I got a one-eyed willy.
One-eyed willy there. I sometimes, a lot of times, bring something for them to take home, whether I bake something for them, I give them something.
This is Corey's little thing. I don't know. She always pops out at every class. I never know what's in her. What's that lady who has the bag and she watches the kids?
I have no idea.
A spoonful of sugar.
I know. I know you're talking.
People are screaming.
Oh, what is her name?
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
So Corey's a Mary Poppins. She'll say, oh, I got some decorations. Now, again, this is eating into your profit. But she'll shop a Hobby Lobby sale.
Real.
And it will always be, it does brighten up the room a bit. We don't do it every time, but like a runner in the middle, and it'll be like, an egg garland. Or then it'll be like Valentine's Day hearts and fuzzies or
One
something.
thing I thought was very cute, but I won't do it anymore because people were like shooing him out of the way, was little confetti that matches
Corrie does the confetti. Then she'll always bring something. She got a Target dollar section for us to wear on our heads like idiots. I know I'm going to be a Santa Claus, and I know I'm going to be a Halloween person. What did you bring? Last time I had popping out of my head.
We've had ears for bunny ears.
Yeah, bunny ears.
Yeah.
What did we do for the beach thing? Did we do anything?
We didn't do anything.
Really? I feel like you're always strapping something to my head.
I don't know. It's either a necklace or a headband.
Yeah, so Corrie will do that. Again, it's very Dollar Tree-esque. It's not a ton of money. It is fun, but it is taking from your profit, so make sure your prices are reflected accordingly. So she'll always pull that out of her cart and we'll put it in the center. And I think that's all you bring.
I think that is.
Now we're going to switch over to my car. Mm-hmm. My car is the supplies that we bring almost each and every time, plus the icing. So the icings I'll put in my backseat in the event that I ever get in a car accident. It is going to be ridiculously sticky.
It is.
But I'll bucket them in like little icing babies. And we'll drive together.
So we do make the icing the day before class. And the reason why is I don't like separation. People doing this for the first time don't know how to deal with loose icing that's too loose. So I want to give them the best bang for the buck. So that is one thing I do before class, is the day before we'll make the icing together.
Yeah, and that'll be pretty nice. Mm-hmm. And then again, count it 50 times and then pack it once.
The great thing about the cookie class kits in the college membership, someone will weigh the icing.
Yeah, the cookie class kits the college membership gets this Facebook group with it, and where they all talk about the class. Unfortunately, the cookie class kits gets a website group, but nobody ever uses it. I'm just talking to myself most of the time. However, in that group, somebody will say, I taught this class. I'm using 3.5-inch cutters, and here's the amount of icing. Corrie and I will make too much icing in every class. We've never weighed it out. We just kind of eyeball it because we let them take it home.
But now I am, because I hate making icing, is weighing it out just a little bit more. So I actually have a food scale, and I'll weigh the icing as I'm putting it in the bag. The thing you don't want to do, and what I've seen in past classes years ago, when I just kind of eyeballed it, some bags would be bigger than other bags, and people would say, you got more icing than I do. Mm-hmm. So I really try to make sure that the bag's equal, so no one's trying to choose a seat that has more icing. They're all relatively the same.
Okay, I agree.
Mm-hmm. What else is in your... Heather brings the piping practice sheets.
Okay, so in the cookie class kits, each kit comes with a piping practice sheet that matches the set. It's pretty generic, but there's always 2 lines that'll switch out to include some piping design that they'll need for that class. Now, here's the thing. Corrie and I never have used them. Nope. We created a piping practice sheet. The first year of COVID, I laminated them at a FedEx store. We have about 50 of them because once we got crazy and taught too many classes. Yeah. And we'll just reuse that one every class. They don't even use the whole sheet. Actually, I let them do 3 lines of the sheet, dots, piping squares, piping circles, and then straight lines. Yeah. And that's just to help them get the flow of icing. I know it's a huge time suck. It takes 15 minutes. It's a huge icing suck because they'll burn through one color, but Corrie will give them an extra couple ounces for that color. And then, but it really, to me, helps them. If I was in a class, I'd really like that aspect of it, to learn these techniques. And that's where I have them kind of go through like, hey guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pipe and fill this square before we jump into our class set. So I'll bring those at the end of the class, or as soon as we're done with piping practice. Corrie will come and gather them, put them aside. Again, they're covered in icing. Yeah. And then that night, I'll soak them in water, wash them off.
Very easy to clean off. Some people don't even laminate them. They just print them off and let people pipe right on it.
Easier. Yeah. But again, it's one less thing for me to count come the day of class. Sure. So I just have this little paper holder. It pulls out these, we pass them around, and then we collect them, and I'll wash them every time.
One thing that we did find was a good thing. I used to do like parchment paper table runner, but then people don't know where their little station is, and they start spreading out.
So these parchment papers. Now I get these on Amazon. I'd almost have to pull it up again. I linked to it actually I have it pulled up right here. These parchment paper squares, we use 3 different sizes, and parchment paper 9 by 13. These are to line our large trays. 10 by 7. These are oversized for the small trays. 12 by 16. These are our place settings. So 12 by 16. It's quite large, but it allows us to say you exist within the square.
Yeah, because we saw it's easy, because you can buy parchment rolls at the grocery store. Yeah, that's what we were using. And we were pulling it out, taping it on the sides, but people were like splaying out. So you had someone who has like no space at all because the person next to him was taking so much space. So what we decided is people are pretty visual. So a visual cue is you have this 12 by 16 sheet of parchment paper. That's your spot. Yeah. You need to stay within within your spot instead of splurging out because you're taking it from someone else. So it's really a visual cue, like keep your stuff in your little area.
And have I forgotten these parchment squares? Yes. Has Corrie had to run to the grocery store and get the roll? Yes. And we always suffer because that roll, turns out people are some a little more violent than others. Break that roll and it throws off the whole table. We had one lady, her icing bag burst on that roll and we had to cut it out, which it wasn't my favorite. So these parchment squares, really like them, which brings us to the trays. Mm-hmm. So we have a bunch of different trays. Now, I think I ordered these from the Webstrand store and they were so expensive. However, I've used them for 4.5 years, so we've gotten our money's worth. There are cheaper options in that cookie class kits. I give you the direct link to what we use. 9.5 by 13 is the large trays, and that will be where we set their cookies and their sprinkles and their scribe.
The reason why we line these trays don't need to be lined with parchment paper, but me and Heather hate cleaning.
Well, because imagine if they get icing on this tray, you're putting that back in your car, and I hate cleaning stuff like that out of my car. Yeah. So if we put the lining there, which their icing is going to seep out on, we can just throw it away when we're done.
Yeah. So what I do is just leave your spot. I'll clean it up after you. And I fold the sprinkles in. So it's like this cute little trash bag in itself.
So we line all these. So the trays are a big thing. I like the trays. Again, it really sets their space up. This is your own space. Everything in front of you on this parchment square is yours to use, and we're going to dive in. So each person gets a large tray. They get the half-size version of that same tray. That's where we put their icing and
a scribe and the sprinkles all go there.
Sorry, the main one's for the cookies. So they each get 2 trays, and then they get it all set on that parchment paper, that large parchment sheet, and right in front of them will be that laminated piping practice sheet, a paper towel, a business card that has our recipe on the back so they don't throw it away, and then Corey's little giveaway doodads.
I will say the trays are nice for a visual cue for me and Heather to make sure we have everything laid out.
Count the trays,
The trays will be laid out. They'll be identical. So I can know that everyone has this specific shaped cookie on their tray. Versus just stacking everything, it's very easy. And for some odd reason, if you ever forget to cut a piping bag don't put the scribe out, they act like they've been taken advantage of.
Yeah, and it causes such a ruckus. So we try to be very systematic in your placement of things. I'll go through and lay out the icing. So if it's green, red, blue, and white, it'll be green, red, blue, and white on each one of those so we can get a visual saying who's missing, because it's so repetitive, it's easy to skip somebody.
It is.
I don't think we talked about your giveaway doodad. Corey keeps it as cheap as possible. Some of you guys give away great goodie bags, and I'm jealous. However, I don't think I'm jealous of your bottom line as much. Corey will go and get really tiny cookie cutters and create a cookie for either the next class set, which she's working on because we sell these class kits, or she'll do an Eddie printed thing.
The great thing about cookie cutters at Michael's is they're seasonal. So when the season ends, you can go stock up on the cookie cutters. Christmas and Target last year, they always have $1.99 cookie cutters. So what I do is when the season ends, I'll stock up on the hearts, because hearts are around it. You can't go wrong with a heart cookie cutter. And when they're only 10 to 15 cents, it's a no-brainer for me. So everyone in this next class we'll have in August is going to get a heart cookie cutter. It's very cute. They don't know it was 15 cents, but I've stocked up and I've shopped the sales to make it a little bit better. Do I always offer a cookie cutter? No. Have I gotten a better response when I do offer a cookie cutter? Yes. So I try to do that. And I try to give them a cookie that I make so they can see look at the things that you can do.
Yeah, very cool. And I think people appreciate it. Do you have to have a little giveaway? No. Does it bode well? Yes. I've never seen someone complain about it.
Sometimes I've seen people leave the cutters behind.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're leaving them behind versus toss them when you don't see me.
So hit or miss, I would say 80% hit every time. So if I'd keep doing it, yes. But Corey will do that. I'll never know what they are. Sometimes they're super cute. Sometimes they're super basic.
It just, whatever my heart.
Wherever she's moved to. So that's her doodads. Now back to what I bring. I bring the piping practice sheet, the trays, the parchment stuff. What else do I bring?
We bring the icing.
I bring the icing, which is buckled up nicely behind me. Safety first.
You do bring the stuff at the front, the magnet and the...
Oh, yeah. So I'll bring that sugar cookie classes sign, the smaller one. Corey brings the chalk one. I'll bring all those cleaning supplies, have them laid out at the front. I'm in charge of the keys to get into the space and get out of the space. And I'll also bring Windex because we got to clean up the space ourselves. Fortunately, the space has its own vacuum, so I'll use that.
But that is pretty much all we bring.
We try to keep it pretty lean because I don't want to keep bringing in, and I'll bring the scribes as well. I have a bunch of those, got them on Amazon. the cheapest ones in the world, and I won't let them take those home, so we just keep reusing it. If we have the spare DIY kits, Corrie brings those. Sometimes you have me bring something. But again, like I said, I have the icing. She has the boxes. We'll actually add the icing to those boxes before we leave.
Yeah, so it's not sitting there for a while.
You bring scissors.
I am the one who cuts the bags. I know
now
people...
this is that change. Like, should you let them cut? So some people will allow everyone to have a set of scissors, which is great. Corrie is worried that when she says cut it small, they're not understanding just how small it is.
The small to me and the small to you, the small to me who's cut a million piping bags and the small to you who's never cut one, is going to be vastly different. I'm thinking tiny, but they're thinking, oh, going pretty small. So what I do is before class, I'll go around and cut them myself. And you're like, oh, it's taking some of the... I don't care. I don't want to buy 52 scissors. Scissors are the most expensive tool.
Yeah.
Technically, and I don't want to store the scissors and have them poking everything, and I don't want them cutting the bags too big. So we usually finish setting up 15 minutes before class, and I'll use the 15 minutes just go around to cut it.
Are people walking in while she's doing this? Yes, but we're all chit-chatting. Now, I actually in the cookie class kits, I created a checklist for this stuff. Again, it has a bunch of space for people to add their own things, but I missed some things here. The to-go boxes. So Corrie will bring those. Again, like I said, she puts stickers on them. And that's additional to the DIY kit boxes that are pre-made.
The to-go boxes are never put together. They're always flat. You don't want to have them just sitting in your car already assembled. It takes up so much space. So I'll bring them flat, and a part of the prep is opening those boxes.
Ziploc bags. Yes. I'll bring that as well. So we add the Ziploc bags. Why? Because we let them take those icing bags home. Dual purpose.
We want them.
Because they're cleaning up and they feel like they got something.
Yeah.
So
I don't like wasting icing, and icing makes the trash bag weigh insanely.
If there's a hole in that trash bag and you have icing dripping into it, your car will be a mess.
Yeah, and if it's a hot day and you're putting that trashy bag of icing in your car, it will just turn to liquid mess.
So we really I find that out of 10 people in class, 9.5 will take their icing home with them, which is great. So we bring just a Ziploc bag, pretty simple. Sometimes Corrie gets cute ones if she can find them, but otherwise, Ziploc. The parchment stuff, I'll print that attendee sheet. So again, I print the attendee sheet when we're prepping, but I'll print it again, just the portion, so I know who's coming and when. So when people walk in, I'll say, hey, can I grab your name? Something we've started doing that I think is working out well is I'll print their name tags. I'll just print it on a piece of paper. They're not wearing them. I just put them on their placemats to try to keep people who sign up together. What happens is people sign up together, but show up at different times.
The way the natural progression of people come into class, everyone wants a space between them and someone they don't know.
That is what my life is about.
The problem is, if the last two people are on opposite sides, opposite ends of the table, they're not going to have as much fun. So instead of making it weird where they're trying to trade these and they're like, no, I want to keep my little cutter that was in front of me or whatever, we put their little name tags together so they can sit together and have the one-off people towards the front.
Yes. So I tell the one-off people, like people who just sign up themselves, like, hey, you're going to love this because you get almost a one-on-one class. You don't have to look behind you.
Yeah.
And then we try to keep the groups together. I'll put the groups, depending on how large they are, either closer to the front if I don't want them talking, or farther in the back if there's like a kid or something.
Yeah.
So that way the parent can talk to the kid without being distracting and like coach them along. If you're wondering, do we allow people just to sit and watch their kids? No. If you want your kid to come, you have to buy a ticket yourself. If the kid's over a certain age, we'll let them stay on their own.
Yeah. We've had people who are like, can I sit in the building? No, we prefer not, and they'll just sit in the car.
I don't even say prefer not. I say insurance restrictions say that you either buy a ticket or you got it.
Yeah.
So, always find your fall guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Jake from State Farm. Print attendee sheet. So I'll bring that attendee sheet. What I like to do is ask everybody their name when they walk in. And then we go around the room and ask people their name. And I'll actually draw a little diagram so I know who's sitting where, because I find when people get kind of quiet in class, I like to say, hey, Ann, how you doing? Are we liking this? Or like when I find that somebody does cakes professionally. Hey, Susie, I know you do cakes professionally. Do you guys use couplers? And it kind of brings the class together.
Sometimes we'll have very quiet people in class, and if you don't know their name, it's really hard to engage, especially if you're coming around and being like, do you have any questions? No, I don't have any questions. It's good to shout out their name and kind of bring them back into class so they feel included, especially the one-off folk.
I know you guys who are introverts are saying, oh my goodness, I hate that. I promise you the delivery isn't a spotlight. It's just, and I'm doing it the whole time, especially when I find a little kid who I can see is really eager.
They'll be like, Jake is doing so good.
And I said, Jake, how many lines are in a square? Sarah. And he'll be like 3, and I'll be like, really close, 4. But great point. We're going to do this. And that kind of brings everyone in together. I think that especially when people come by themselves, it is always anxiety inducing to do something by yourself. So I like to include them. And then have, like, if somebody has a question, you're like, oh, you know what? Sarah asked that question. Sarah brings up a great point to this class, guys. I always bring a camera.
Yeah.
So you can use your phone, but I can always tell when a photo's taken with a phone or when it's taken with a camera. Something that we have found works out well is, I used to say, let me take a picture of your cookies, but then it was just a bunch of pictures of cookies. So I'm saying, let me take a picture of you and your group. And you'll find these on Facebook. So and they'll always ask me, hey, can I hand you my phone and you take this with your phone as well? Absolutely. When I send up the follow-up email, an hour and a half after class, I actually schedule it out. I'll include a link to our Facebook page. And I said, your photos will be posted here tomorrow.
The photos are a twofer. One, it puts them back on our social medias, which we want them to do. If you like the page, you'll be more apt to see us in your feed. It also hurries the end of class. So Heather will be like, I want to take a picture of you with your cookies in the box. A lot of times you're being charged by the hour for these venues, or you want to get home because every minute past the class is eating into your profits. So you want to do it in a nice way. Get out of here.
And again, find your fall guy. We use a showroom. So we'll say, hey guys, got to switch the showroom back to what it was originally designed for. So we got to be out at a certain time. It's great to set that ahead of time. Then when that I swear, if we did not turn off the lights, people would stay 30 minutes after class.
Chit-chatting, but having them saying, I'm going to take a picture when you put your cookies in the box, it speeds up this whole process, because once their cookies are in the box, I can start cleaning up and they kind of get the feel like class is over.
Do we wait to hand out those boxes an hour? Our classes are an hour and a half. We hand out that box 10 minutes to class. And I say to people, I know you're wrapping up. We still have 10 minutes. Behind you, I'm going to set your to-go box. And as soon as you get that last cookie knocked out, you can start putting them in there, because what reality cooking show is complete without the stress of moving stuff. Yeah. So we'll do that. And then I'll come around, I'll take that camera. I actually take photos during class. You'll find that people get real quiet and focused when they're mid-cookie. So I'll take some photos of that, and we'll use it in our marketing and stuff. I take photos before they get there of the class set up, so we can use that in our promotions as well. Yeah. The piping practice sheet, the PowerPoint. If you want to decorate, now here's the thing, Corrie and I, we're trying to keep this a lean, mean fighting machine. I do have a document camera. It's from IPVO. When we taught at CookieCon that time, they had them. And I think I asked Mark, what are these glorious things? And he's like, oh, if you want to cast what you're doing on this huge presentation screen behind you, you can use these cameras. And they had a whole team of people. So I went and got it. Do we use it? No. Could we use it? Yes, but it is a whole. What a waste! What a waste! We have used it.
We've never.
Yeah, we did a virtual class and we used it. These cameras are pretty neat because they're designed for that one. Their highest end one operates off of batteries, so they need to be plugged in. It will need to be connected to your display screen though. That's more cabling for us. That's another machine. That's another point that it could go. Our room is small enough that Corrie can just have them kind of stand up and look over, and then she'll hold up the cookie. If you wanted to be a fancy person, those document cameras are pretty neat.
I will say, and the business that created it has escaped me, but I'll maybe be able to remember. But if you pre-made the set before class, there was a shop that came out with this almost like cookie protector, and it's got a frame, and you put the cookie inside of it.
Yes.
And you could pass that around.
Was that cookie packaging?
No.
Oh, no. Was that not cookie counters?
No.
Okay. Sorry. Free marketing. The TV or the projector for class, I don't encourage. I know some people actually use their projectors that they project onto cookies to pipe as this projector to project the PowerPoint or the live feed of them decorating. I find that, again, we got the caveat, if that room is really bright, that camera, that projector is not going to work. So that TV will be a guaranteed resolution every time, a guaranteed brightness.
What's funny is in the college, that playlist that they make, people will just use that and forego the PowerPoint.
Yeah, if you're like technology and me, we're just arch nemesis. Is it a nemesi?
Nemesi.
We're arch nems. If you're an arch nem with tech, then just printing off a playlist, if you want to call it, that's what they call it in college, a PDF of the steps. A lot of people really like that.
I want to say the only bad part about that is people will start moving forward in class. You have slow decorators and fast decorators. What you don't want to do is have someone end 15 minutes before the rest of class does, because then they're just sitting there like duds on their phone.
Yeah.
So
duds?
Duds. Little duddy. Milk dud. Little milk dud. So us being able to determine what's the next step is so that they know, we keep it a secret. So I will say, do not go forward.
Yeah, I can see Corrie laughing. So, but when somebody starts dragging behind, I'll actually move the whole class forward and leave them because at the end of during the class, at the 30 minutes left mark, I'll be like, hey guys, just so you know, I told you this was going to feel like it flew by. We have 30 minutes left. Then I'll do 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It causes them so much stress. Then the paper towels roll, the disinfecting wipes, the masks, the gloves, if you want to do that. Then in the cookie class kits, I have like a digital checklist. Again, because this is a marketing podcast, I think we should read through it. But I think that's our class supplies.
Yeah.
I think that's everything we do. When we get home, again, I've already scheduled out the email to go out. I don't have to. Corrie and I go to lunch after class, actually, if I'm still hungry after I eat her decorated cookies. Sometimes she'll decorate in class because somebody didn't show or she just wanted to do it. And I'll mouth, put extra icing on that. And then we'll eat it and then we'll go to lunch, which is ridiculous. But okay, included it in the checklist because you can't fill seats just on having really nice trays and parchment paper. You've got to do the marketing side. So I'm just going to read through some of these if you want to delve in. Create the event listing. We create it on Eventbrite and push it off to Facebook through Eventbrite's portal. You could create an event on your website, and that's just fine. A little bit more manual. And Corrie and I are lazy, so we use Eventbrite. Eventbrite handles refunds, credits, chargebacks, things like that. Some emails. It does make sure that they know. It also, if they don't show up to class, and they get a credit. I think this may have changed a little bit. They have 1 year. You can set it to expire. The social media posts. Now, in the cookie class kits, we provide the social media posts. I think it's 6 feed posts, 6 cookie feed posts. They're, again, cropped the way they're supposed to be. 5 story posts and 2 event listing covers that you could use on Facebook or Eventbrite. So you'd schedule those out. So I'll spend 1 day, probably 6 weeks out from a class and just schedule that content out so I don't have to think about it. You can use AI to write really nice captions. However, if you're in the cookie class kits, I got some really great puns for you.
Very good puns.
These ones I did for this last class. Let me actually pull it up.
I will say that I've been noticing when people use AI and chat GTP.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. It's better than nothing. It's better than not posting anything at all.
Well, it's a lot of word salad up in there.
It's a lot of fluff. Chat GTP loves some word fluff. So here are some of the, if you don't like coming up with puns, I sit here for about 2 hours and come up with them. We have the Sugary Shrubs class we just dropped on the 1st of this month. And it said, okay, quote unquote, would, WOOD, you like to sign up because allow to have you in our upcoming cookie class. The Sugary Shrubs class will have you rooting for sugar cookies. I'll be hosting this class in city and state. Sign up ASAP because Thyme is running out. And again, you might be like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And you'd be correct. However, we are not trying to, we're trying to be cute and fun with algorithmic. If people use a laugh react, we get more reach. So if these are so dumb and you're like, that just sounds so stupid, there's a lot of emojis included. So it's very plant heavy. Yeah. Another one, you'll be dill-ited for this 1.5 hour cookie decorating class where we'll decorate 6 cookie picture perfect cookies during and we're using 4 icing colors. You won't believe how good you'll get. It's on date and time. Yeah. Come on, Clover, and treat yourself. So again, a lot of that pun stuff, a lot of emojis. I like to use a ton of emojis because I think it helps that content reach more people. And that's the goal of that stupid pun stuff. And there's a bunch of social copy you can use in the Eventbrite listing. We even write that up for you. Post to Nextdoor. If you use Nextdoor, you can have a Nextdoor business page now. Very easy. You can share it to your local area if it doesn't break the rules. Post to your community group 1, 2, and 3. Corrie and I have community groups here. There's so many that you can, if they have a sale Saturday. Yeah. Post to. What are you about to say?
No, I'm disagreeing.
If you have a newsletter, send one out. Do Corrie and I have a newsletter for classes? No. Do as we say, not as we do. Not as we do. Post to your VIP group or email directly your best client saying you can email people who took your last class. A lot of our classes are filled by people who've already taken our classes. I like to say when anybody takes any class leading up to July, if you guys want to sign up and get that Christmas seat, it will sell up by September, and a lot of them will go and get that. We had somebody sign up for a Christmas class in January this year. Yeah. So that kind of shows you. Schedule your social media posts to Instagram as well. We don't want to leave Instagram and Facebook out. We talk about run times. Corrie and I have a 6-week run time if the class is not filled. If the class gets filled, it gets sloppy. Yawn. We're flow. Update your event listing discussion. So on Facebook, you can make an event. But if somebody shows interested and didn't sign up, if you post in the discussion section, it pings them again, which I think is a great way to kind of push those interested into a sale. Again, and then just repeat this for the next 3 weeks. So each of these little groupings would be a 2-week promotion schedule, and you'd repeat it 3 times. That'll take you to 6 weeks. If you say, well, I'm only promoting for a month, you're going to squish this timeline up, and you'll be doing that every week and a half. And then kind of just reach out until all your class seats are filled. And then if you're still mid promotion schedule, start promoting that next class. This is why Corrie and I like posting these classes so ahead of time, because we can just be like, oh, let's just ride that wave instead of just this turn on, fill the classes, turn off again. Yeah. Which is sometimes what we do. We're sloppy.
I know.
Do what we do, not what we say. And that takes us kind of through this. Now at the end of class, I'll have that automated email go out, and I'll just recap kind of what we said. I'll have a link to Eddie, the edible food printer, and I'll have a link to CookieCon because I like talking about it sometimes. And I'll have a link to
the Amazon list
of the shopping supplies that we use. So we just kind of linked to that. I even linked to Sweet Pink Olive's website because those are the cutters we use because we use our own class kits if they wanted to buy them themselves. Again, it's just more of that value added. Do I think anybody's ever bought those cookie cutters? No. But in the event that they do, they have this way. And then it says, if you have any questions, just let us know. And then I also give them the recipes that we use.
Yeah.
So you might have said, well, Heather, you said you gave them the recipe on the business card. I give it to them again because that's value added. Get some back on. I actually also give them the PowerPoint that we used. Yeah. So in the event that they did purchase a DIY kit, I include it in both places. But Heather, they didn't pay for the DIY kit. Yeah, they paid for the class. I've already made it. And you guys, if you sign up for the class kits, can use those PowerPoint to email it as well.
All right. Wraps us up.
That wraps us up. That was a lot of class talk. Would you encourage people to teach cookie classes?
Say that again.
Would you encourage people to teach cookie classes?
I think if you want a well-rounded business, you have to diversify your income within that business. Customs take a long time to make. Can take 8 hours. But a class, maybe prep time is 1 day and the next day is an hour and a half, but you could make maybe 3 to 4 times more than what you make for customs. It's a great way to fluff your pockets. It's a great way to be able to save up for investments like Eddie, the edible food printer, and, things like that. Maybe saving up to go to CookieCon so you can learn something new, pipe and roses, whatever thing like that, watercolor.
It's a really great thing. I would say if you're thinking about doing it, set up a class for friends and family first. This is a great time to get started in that. You don't want to do this around Christmas time where those classes could sell like hotcakes and you don't have time to practice. Now, dry July would be the time to say, hey, friends and family, I want to teach this class. Could you guys come over to the house and let me just try practice this with you?
You might think like, oh, I haven't been decorating cookies that long, only a year. I hadn't even been decorating a year. I just was like, I think I could decorate this.
And I can teach it. At the end of the day, I know people are, it's good to have the foundational knowledge of, royal icing and the cookies because you have to bake them. Having a decent running through the class yourself. In the cookie class kits, Corrie teaches the bakers how to decorate the cookies. So making sure you got a grasp of that is always solid. I don't think that you should be like, I'm going to teach my first cookie class and learn royal icing
at the same time.
I think you got to give yourself 3 months to really practice. Yeah. We have some people who are drop cookie bakers who want to move into sugar cookie classes. So give yourself 3 months to really acquaint yourself with the recipe that you're going to use, which if you're in the cookie college, I think you give them the recipe. And then really do some dry runs with friends and family. And then I think if you give yourself 3 months of practice and you actually invested in it, sign up for the cookie class kits, takes a lot of the thinking out of it. And then by September, October, November, December, and I saw somebody in the college post this, they're like, I can't fill up my summer classes. Like, welcome to hell, buddy. Yeah. You couldn't either. We've been doing this for years. It is harder to fill up summer classes. Your audience is traveling. You're traveling. Schedules are weird. Kids are out of school. You think and those tickets are expensive. Yeah. So it's not the cheap. I was seeing in a community group, someone's like, it's so expensive to have kids in the summertime because they're just
because you're either paying for them to go to camp or you're paying for a babysitter. So
they're looking for free stuff. So it's not the kids are out of school. They should want to take this. It's just very expensive to have to entertain kids constantly. Come the winter months, the cooler months, it is so different. I can't even explain. It is the license to print money. I know we say it every year. Once we just kept setting up Christmas classes, we just say, let's continue to post them, see how many we can sell. And eventually we had to just stop because too many people were signing up. Private classes and things like that. So I think you should. I think if you're pretty good at decorating and you say, I want to diversify my income and getting a little burnout on customs, this would be the time of the year to start getting those supplies ordered. In their class supplies list, we have those expensive things that we bought because before we learned, and then we have some alternative cheaper options that if I could redo it, I would have bought those. But again, if you want to replicate our class exactly, we still use expensive supplies, so you could do that. Moving on to text, we have one. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you,
from
Teresa.
Flour, Eggs, and Yeast in Orlando. Is it hot in Orlando?
It's hot here.
It's hot here in the nation's capital. One, I'm so excited about the Vendy Blendy. I'm already pending, and I can't wait to be spending. We'll talk about that in a second if you haven't heard the Vendy Blendy yet. Two, you mentioned on the podcast that you have 7,000 people getting your newsletter. Wow. I'm guessing that's just for us bakers and not the newsletter for Corrie's Bakery. Newsletters. How many take actions would you recommend per monthly newsletter so it doesn't come across as white noise to your audience? Sincerely, a person who is constantly inspired by y'all. Well, Teresa, thank you so much. That's very nice. You're correct. There is a newsletter for the Sugar Cookie Marketing Podcast. If you want to sign up for that, go to there'sanewsletter.com and you can sign up. I send it through SendGrid. That's the 7,000 people list. If Corrie had 7,000 people, I'd be like, what are you doing? But Corrie's Bakery Mixing Bowl Cookie Co. does not have a newsletter.
Why? Because my web person isn't getting on it.
Here's my thought. Again, do as we say, not as we do, because it is a healthy marketing diversification to have an email list, because it could be such a solid repetitive lead generator, which makes its cost per lead a lot lower. However, Corrie says she likes to really screen. Corrie, when she wants a lead, will go and seek it out versus I don't know. Corrie's really complicated. In the real world, should you have a newsletter? Yes. Here's what I recommend to people who want to send out newsletters. Shoot for one a month. Shoot for it on the same day of each month and be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of what should you have in that newsletter, the Sugar Cookie Marketing newsletter is too long. I'll be honest. But I like the content that it includes. It has a meme. It has a calendar countdown. It has a podcast poll. It has the meat and potatoes that I'm sure none of you are reading. And it has, to get you to open the email, a free $2 transfer each week.
Yeah.
So that's what that one has each week. And all of those are little gimmicks to get you to sign up or something. However, if I had a bakery, if I had one, I would include probably in each one the upcoming class and maybe a small call to action on a customs or pre-sale.
Yeah, and then maybe something about town that's happening, so it kind of becomes a resource. Problem is if people are ordering cookies once a year for their kid's birthday, they probably won't love to open your email for the 11 months they're not ordering. So having something in there that could be a little helpful resource for them will open your chances that you won't be ending up in the spam.
Real estate agents have learned this very well. So real estate agents, how many houses can they throw your way, right? And it gets a little repetitive. And so to diversify, to get you to open their emails, these real estate agents will go and create these about town videos and be like, hey guys, I found this new ice cream shop. You're going to love it. Yeah. At the bottom of that email, be like, and here's some listings I have in your area. So we worked with a few real estate agents. One had a child with a kind of like a disorder. Disability. And she really wanted to lean into that. She really wanted to help parents struggling to find things that can accommodate their children. So that's what she'd lead with. And then she was the real estate agent. Yeah. And so she could find you housing that accommodated that. That was her big differentiator. So that's what her newsletters would include. Then we had another lady, and she just like, well, my differentiators, I only focus on this area. Yeah. So she would go and she would find all these restaurants happenings, openings, local events that were happening, and that would be in her newsletter. So consider this, maybe a real estate agent would focus on people with very young kids or military housing, and then they would design that newsletter. Okay, if military housing, here's some like Veterans Day specials, or here's some kids eat free. So things like that would kind of mirror what they're trying to do. And as well, so for a baker, you could say about town, hey guys, I know a lot of you have kids because I'm doing all your wonderful birthdays. Wonderful. Here's some things that you can do for cheap. Also, if you want to sign up, DIY kit. That's also something you can include there. But I would say getting started, don't think about a weekly newsletter. Corrie and I do it weekly because we do a weekly podcast. Yeah. But I think a monthly newsletter, so you're only looking at 12 of these. Yeah. Likely, maybe let's say you're teaching 4 classes for the rest of the year. So that takes care of 4 of the offerings. And then the other stuff, maybe it's a DIY kit. Maybe it's just a pre-sale. Maybe you're not pushing anything specifically. The customs are always there. And then if you really want to really sharpen your email sword right there, having a CRM program and reaching out to people directly is going to be a huge boon. Saying, hey, I know last year I did wonderful birthday. Do you want to be too wonderful? Too wonderful. What's your pun you guys use for
Tutti frutti? Like
tutti frutti. And that could help you as well.
Chugga tutu. Cute. I have an order for that coming up.
Great. Can't wait to, hey, Heather, can you bring this guy with me? So that's how I would do this. If you guys want to text into the podcast, it makes it more interesting. It's 571-556.
5644.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do my cell phone. I said I felt too confident. Just saying
weird.
Moving on to the Vendy Blendy, we are chugging along here into the year. It is it is already July 16th.
Can't believe it's July 16th. It was just July 4th yesterday.
I don't even want to talk about it. So come November 29th.
Yeah.
If you didn't spend all your money on Prime Day, we're running a online sales day.
One day, 24 hours.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's 24 hours, and vendors sign up, and they have to be directly related to baking, and they'll offer you a steep discount if you shop with them that day. So if that's all you hear, awesome. That's the Vendy Blendy to you. You'll get a spreadsheet. You don't have to be in that group. However, why not make it more fun? During that day, we'll have large giveaways. Depending on how many vendors sign up, will go towards, all the vendor fees go towards that biggest giveaway. And then the vendors themselves can also do giveaways. And Corrie and I are vendors as well, so we'll be doing giveaways as well. I think last year we gave away Cookie College yearly membership. Yeah. We also gave away the $2 transfers, printed and laminated. It took me forever to get those out.
It did.
And then I think we gave away something else. Maybe the Cookie Class kits? Maybe. I can't remember. I know, but then Sweet Pink Olive gave all the Cookie Class kit cutters for the last year. So it was a lot of fun to see what these vendors are giving. So I'm just going to read them through to you. As we get closer to the Vendy Blendy, we'll dig into this a little bit more. Start making announcements. The Cookie College is me and Corrie. I'll be running a bunch of different promotions because I love the Vendy Blendy. I'll have more information on that. The Blue Honey Cutter Co. will be running 30% off. Bobby's Cutters is back again, 25% off. Domestic Cookie, back again, 25% off. More Decor, 25% off. One Smart Cookies and Crafts, that's Heather King, who asked us to do the podcast today. 30% off. Love and Flour Baking Supplies, 25% off. That's a Canadian shop, you Canadians. Do not complain. We will get you. Yeah. Trying to get some, we got some European shops. It would be cool to get some Australian shops. Cup of Cookies, 25% off. Mixer Skirt, 30% off. Cookie Cutters by Nori, 25% off. Acor Backers, 30% off. Sweet Bite App, 33% off. Miss Cookie Packaging, 25% off. Sunshine Day Biz, she's the lady who makes the PDS for the Cookie College, 25% off. Sweeties Tasty Treats and Scribes, 30% off. The Bougie Baker Boutique, 25% off. Lolly Bees Custom Cutters, 30% off. Minted Prints, 25% off. Brighton Cutters, 30% off. Cookie Your Prints, 25% off. Dare to Bake, back again, 25% off. Whipsy, I think you just did a video on Whipsy. I did. That'll be 25% off. Busy Bakers, 25% off. Chew a Cookie, you love her mats, 25% off. Sweet Pink Olive, 30% off. She has an airbrush machine that Corrie likes. JoJo's Specialty Shop, 25% off. Sugarloaf Mountain Designs, 30% off. This will be her first year. Is she Canadian?
Sure, she is.
My Dope, back again, 30% off. Mad Batter Cookie Co., 30% off. Sam and June's Bake Shopee, 25% off. The Cookie, 25% off. The Dessert Depot, 25% off. And Scribes by Shirls, 30% off. Now, I haven't opened the Vendy Blendy for other signups yet. We had such a great turnout. I have to slow down a bit. Because there's such a thing as too many vendors and too much going on. It makes it really hard to manage that group. However, it is such a fun day, and you're going to love it. So if you want to, let me see if that URL still works. Go to vendyblendy.com. Does it take you to the Facebook group? It's called Vendy Blendy on Facebook if you want to join that group. Again, you'll just pendy. Yeah. Until you're ready to spendy, and that will be at midnight. Yeah, if you go to vendyblendy.com, I'll take you to that group. Otherwise, it's Vendy Blendy, parentheses, sugar cookie marketing. Nice. We have pendies. How many do you think we got? I don't think I've announced it recently.
I don't know.
1385. 1385. And if you guys are listening to this and you know of a shop you think would be a great fit, all those vendors I just read about, those are only 10% are new. Yeah. All those are returning vendors because they loved it last year. And so they said they want to come back.
We'll have to do a post on our Facebook page. Tag who you want to see at the Vendy Blendy.
That'd be great. Because a lot of those vendors, I think Whipsy's a great example. A member of the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group said, I found this product. I really like it. She reached out to Whipsy. Whipsy reached out to me and she signed up. And Whipsy is like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it was great.
The design of the Vendy Blendy is that everybody wins. Again, the shops still have to make a profit, but they're offering you quite a steep discount because you guys like a sale and everyone has a good time. They'll have you probably, for their giveaways, they're allowed to get you to sign up for their newsletter. Yeah. They're allowed to get you to like them on Instagram, or they can just say, post a picture of your dog, whatever it is. And then you get to discover these new shops. We all get to have fun together and you guys get to save some money.
So nice.
It is so funny. I love it. Moving on. Okay, we did. You want to do our sponsors?
Our sponsors. First, and what is up is a meringue powder. It is called Royal Batch from a company called Bakety Bake. It's the meringue powder that I use, that I suggest everyone in my cookie classes to use because it's so nice. It actually whips up bright white because it already has white food coloring in it. It has vanilla extract and corn syrup if you're new to royal icing. That gives it a softer bite. I absolutely adore it. It is my favorite thing. When I whip it up, it's a good old grand time.
Do you use it in your cookie classes?
Only for the people I like.
Corrie rations that ever-loving stuff out. You can use code TWINS to save 10%. If we could get her signed up for the bundle,
we're gonna
that'd be
have
great.
to
She did do it last year, 20% off, and now she'd have to come up to 20%.
I know. Last but not least, Eddie, our edible food printer. Think of a real printer that prints with airbrush colors, but can print any design under the sun. That is what Eddie is.
So neat. Corrie has relied on Eddie. If you could guess how much you've made off of Eddie versus how much he costs.
Oh, I think I've surpassed it now.
Oh, for sure, Corrie.
Yeah, I'm saying I think I surpassed it now.
You probably surpassed it. I would say probably, if my may be so bold, 6 times you've made your money back on it.
I think so.
Because Corrie, corporate girly era, if you want to go back to those podcasts, has gotten in these relationships with some corporate clients, and they are willing to spend for a lot of monotonous looking cookies.
I was able to say yes to an opportunity coming up at the end of August because of Eddie.
I'm not excited about that.
Not excited, but there's this brand new, it's called the Barn at Brambleton.
Yeah.
Think of a very modern and sleek barn.
I know, I've seen that picture. It's stunning.
Gorgeous. But they're having an expo, and it's not like a traditional vendor expo. It's actually, we're putting on a wedding event. So
a fake wedding event?
A fake wedding event. No bride and groom is going to be there, but we're supplying. The florist is bringing the flowers. The photographers are taking pictures of the setup. Bakers, me, providing the cookies, and we're going to do this faux setup. So you can see when the brides and grooms walk in, they can see exactly what it would look like.
It's a setup wedding, but it's a vendor event of potential bride and groom.
Yeah.
So you need a booth?
So then she said, if you want to do, there's 2 things. There's that fake wedding that they're doing where I provide fancy cookies for, and where you can meet these brides and grooms after they've flowed through this area. They can come and I can give them taste tester cookies. So they saw what I can do design-wise. Now they want to taste it. I'm using Eddie because I need to make 100 of them. So people can just stop by and be like, oh, I saw the cookies that you put on the placemats. Do you think I can taste test them here? So then I'll give them that.
Why do you sign
You will
up
be
for this
with
stuff?
me.
Why do you sign
You
up for this?
will be. I thought it would be a good podcast
put it on the
topic.
calendar. I can't promise you.
Oh, I will put it on your calendar.
I don't like you signing up for things unless I'm asked for it.
Calendar. I'll put it on your calendar.
So we've gone through. Do you have a Twinterest?
Do I have a Twinterest?
I have one. I went to Topgolf. Have you been?
No.
Have you played?
No.
I went. It is a well-oiled machine of entertainment.
Yeah.
What a well-done setup.
I don't think I like golfing.
I know. Okay, but it's like you don't really have
It's
to actually
food,
be that good.
right?
It's food, but I will say that I thought that it was going to be a bigger focus on food. That's very secondary. They're like, okay, and I'm guessing that each golf ball has an RFID chip in it that tells you exactly where it went.
I wondered. I thought you had to go like kind of
No,
look
and I'm blind. I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Not that I hit it far enough to not see it anymore. But then there's these little like hole-in-ones, but they're giant, right? Because they know we're just terrible at it. And wherever you hit within that, you get a certain amount of points. Now you turn around, it's just like bowling where the little screen has all these fun things going on.
Nice.
Yeah, and it counts down to who's playing. It tells you, and to get the golf ball, this machine is sitting in front of you, giving you some brief rules. If you just hover your club over this little red light,
it spits one out.
Just
like a bowling ball.
Just
like
it would be, if bowling alleys... Sorry, she's knocking down the wall. If bowling alleys could be like resuscitated, which I think Bolero tries.
I think so.
This is that Topgolf thing. I always find it like you go everywhere and there's a million seatbelts and a million guardrails and they're like, but this one, Topgolf's like, hey, try not to trip forward, man. It's going to be rough if you do.
So would you suggest people to go if they have not?
I would say
is it overpriced?
It's not cheap because if you have that much accommodation, I will say it was very hot. So maybe a fall day would be.
Yeah.
I was very sweaty. However,
because you're kind of in the actual.
You're outside.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize this. They have a complete inside restaurant on each level. So there's 3 levels, and there's a full service bar, full service restaurant, seating, and there's a supply shop at the bottom. That's called upselling.
Can you eat a full meal while you're golfing?
Yeah, they'll bring it. You just turn around after you've just absolutely massacred the ball.
And then take a bite?
And they'll be like, you popped it off while you're there. Yeah, and then your Diet Coke gets refilled. It was very crowded, so the guy was, and it was very sweaty.
But don't you have your own little stall?
I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I thought I could fail privately. It was a little bit more public. People could see. But everyone else was failing around me.
But you had your own stall.
Yeah, just kind of like the same like at a bowling alley where you can see what the other people around you are doing, but you're kind of focused on yourself. And then that computer is constantly telling you who's next. And I think you rent it by the hours.
Okay.
So you can say, I want to be here for 2 hours. So the whole time it's saying, here's how many things you have left that you can do.
Wow.
It was a well-oiled machine. Of course, huge parking lot because there's so many people there.
Yes.
Food was good.
The food was good or great?
I had an appetizer, so I didn't really vote. The Diet Coke was crispy. A nacho with stuff on it.
Nacho with stuff on it? That's not in your playbook normally.
It isn't, and I didn't pick it, but I ate it. But I thought it was very neat, very fun. And you know, when I had asked Dad to teach me golf, this would have been 10 times more enjoyable. So if you're going to go hit balls at a range, that was barbaric compared to Topgolf. And Topgolf tells you where your ball went. You can bring your own clubs if you wanted, or they supplied them for you, or you could get some upgraded things.
Yeah.
And some people were there like to win. But I thought like that's a much better, more enjoyable if you want to learn it and you don't know what you're doing. Just to stand at I don't know. When Dad and I went to hit balls, it was no umbrella. It was sweaty. It was you had to carry everything. Yeah. This was just all right there, and a guy's constantly saying, "Can I refill that Diet Coke?"
That's so funny. Oh. Did you have a dedicated waiter?
He was spread thin.
Oh,
he was running around, but he would never not stop by. Can I get anything else for you? But he was like, nice. They had these little, the little handheld things that they can take your order. So it was pretty efficient. Yeah. At no point did I feel like I was neglected.
Nice.
I feel like I neglected any of the hole-in-ones. Never looked at them once. Hit nothing. And then the computer had these games you could do. Instead of just hitting it, you could say, I want to try this goal or this game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My twin trust is AC. It's a gift from God.
Air conditioning. Conditioned air.
Air that has been blown upon by the machine outside.
Our cousin lived in Washington State up until yesterday, and they moved back to Virginia. But in Washington State, they don't have air conditioning.
I could not imagine.
I did not know that.
Does it get hot there?
You said typically not, but on the days where it does, you're getting those wall-mounted units and just sitting in front of it.
Crazy.
But I guess if you have would you rather great weather throughout the whole year and a few one-offs, or air conditioned?
I need to know that when I walk through that door.
You know how I sweat? Like it's my profession? Yeah. Wasn't that Topgolf? How sweaty it was. Hair was sticking to my forehead.
Yeah. Do you have your hair down?
No, ponytail, but when you go to see how bad you just hit, it's sticking to your forehead.
It's just not the time to be outside.
Insult to I almost feel like I'll emerge back outside in about a month and a half.
I think.
Or 3.
There you go.
It's just too hot.
Yeah,
it's just too hot.
Yeah, so I'm so grateful for air conditioning. I'm grateful that
it's
upstairs
a good twin dress. That is a great.
I will.
Oh, can I add another twin dress? I got an automatic litter box. It's on sale today.
You did talk about it last week,
but it's on sale today.
Yeah.
Meow want. Yep.
Meow want.
Don't ask me. Okay. It's all one word. Meow want.
Is it 2 W's or 1 W?
1.
Okay, that shares the W.
Wonderful.
Maybe it's meow ant.
But I was out of town for 4 days. And the litter box kept the whole thing clean.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it had spare room. And it has those little, like those cones when we used to go to church and then the cone would get smaller and smaller as the smell dissipated. They have a spot for those little jelly packets of that smell.
Nice.
And it keeps it fresh. You can't smell it. So when I walked in, litter box hadn't been touched by a human since I left. And that little gel thing, you could not smell that there was anything there.
Interesting.
When I opened that little area, though, I was like, "Oof, there's stuff here."
Yeah.
Wow, Frank, you went to town.
Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Where should we go for lunch? I was thinking
deviation.
A little deviation. I was thinking Outback Steakhouse. I could really go for their steamed rock.
Steamed rock and Outback. I think Outback's had a resurgence, personally.
They came out with a little clicky thing where they can just order from the table.
A Diet Coke from Outback. Elite.
Hits.
Elite.
It really
is good. They have
a
big glass.
It's a big glass, big thick glass, so it stays colder longer.
And their bread can't touch. Is it sourdough? No.
No, I don't think. I think it's oatmeal.
It doesn't have big holes in it.
Yeah.
Their butter. Speaking of butter, is amazing. Great. And their steamed broccoli.
I do like the steamed broccoli. It is swimming in butter.
I want my steak to be levitated with the soup. If you're a French onion girly like me,
Heather does like the French onion soup.
For some reason, it's the hottest thing on the planet of the earth, other than Corrie's house.
True.
But if you let it cool off, it is great.
I think the French onion right now in the 100-degree weather, not the
A
move.
little aggressive. Their salads are a little lackluster.
They are, but I don't think they've ever tried to make it be.
The salad that was in Outback when I was 5 is the same salad at 35.
It is.
Nothing's changed.
It is not changed.
No. However, I'm vibing with Outback these days. I think their steak is very good.
It's the ribeye.
Yes, that's the one we get.
It's either comes in now the 13 ounce, I think. You used to be able to choose. Now they only have one.
Is it fatty? Yes. But does it taste great? Also, yes. But Corey's dog will eat the leftovers.
My husband and the dog will eat the leftovers. They fight for it.
Damn, I'm in.
Right?
All right, let's go.